Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 445, The Three Jinx and a Baby. The episode begins with Ash and the gang walking down a forest path towards Cremini Town, which was close to the battle tower, with Brock remarking that Cremini Town was nearby, as Brock looked in his guidebook, and Max looked at his Pokénav to confirm this. Ash was pleased by the fact that he was almost at Cremini Town, because then it wouldn't be much longer before he could challenge the battle tower to win his 6th frontier symbol. Just then, May spots something running in some bushes up ahead. So she goes up to it to take a closer look and sees that the thing running through the bushes was a Smoochum, which she thought was very cute, even as it kept most of itself hidden behind the bush. So May thought it was extremely cute when Smoochum came out of the bushes, twirled around, and smiled beautifully. May immediately falls in love with the Smoochum's cuteness, and after fantasizing about it a little bit, she tries to grab it for herself. But right as she does this, a blue light appeared around Smoochum, which Brock identified as a psychic attack. Smoochum gets lifted into the air with the help of this psychic attack when suddenly an icy wind attack strikes Ash and the gang from beyond the trees, making Ash and the gang wonder where the fuck it was even coming from to begin with. Just then, the icy wind increased, leading Ash and the gang to believe that they were actually being hit by a blizzard attack. The blizzard gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, but Ash and the gang were forced to walk through it anyway so that they could go after Smoochum, who was still being lifted away by the psychic attack. Eventually being lifted away out of the view of Ash and the gang as Smoochum disappears behind the trees as the blizzard intensifies even fucking more. But Ash and the gang were now determined to find Smoochum and the source of the attack. Up ahead, Ash and the gang see that Smoochum was now visible again, and it was lowered into the hands of a Jinx. And Ash and the gang see not only one Jinx, but two other Jinx, realizing that it must have been the Jinx, being ice types, who created the blizzard attack, and they must have been wanting Smoochum back, since Jinx was the evolution of Smoochum, and they must have been related. What Ash and the gang didn't know was that these three Jinx were Smoochum's big sisters. Anyways, Ash, being the forgetful fuck that he was, went to go scan Jinx with his Pokédex to find out if Smoochum really was the pre-evolution of it, but Max stopped him, confirming already that Jinx and Smoochum were in the same evolutionary line. Ash's main question now was to find out why the Jinx were so protective over Smoochum to begin with, and he wanted to question them as to why they weren't allowed to play with Smoochum or some shit. As soon as Ash takes a single step towards the Jinx, though, they attack him and Pikachu with another blizzard attack, covering Ash and Pikachu in a full layer of snow. Ash, who was immensely angry now, ordered Pikachu to fight back against the Jinx with a Thunderbolt, but as Pikachu was charging up his Thunderbolt, one of the Jinx uses Ice Beam to freeze Pikachu, and Pikachu was only frozen fucking even more when the other Jinx added on to the Ice Beam. Ash was pissed the fuck off that his best buddy Pikachu was frozen, and went to go send out another one of his Pokemon to deal with the Jinx, but May stopped him from attacking, explaining that Ash was confronting the Jinx for no fucking reason. It was obvious why they wanted to protect Smoochum from outsiders, since Jinx and Smoochum were in the same evolutionary line, and Max agreed, along with Brock, who suggested they just go another way to Ceremi Town and leave the Jinx and Smoochum alone. Ash obliges, though not before picking up Pikachu in its little ice sculpture, which, as a result, partially breaks the ice, freeing Pikachu for the most part. Ash and the gang then leave for Cremini Town as the Jinx look on, making sure that Ash and the gang were gone. Once they were gone, one of the Jinx turns around to scold Smoochum for running away and make sure that it was alright now, but it was shocked to see, as it alerted the other Jinx, that Smoochum had already run away again. And the Jinx immediately panic and separate from each other, trying to find it. Meanwhile, as for Team Rocket, they had just set up a little makeshift tent, but Meowth was currently outside of it, moaning and complaining about how exhausted he was after all the hard work they were doing trying to capture Pikachu, all their failed hard work for that matter, and he was also ranting about how little they had and how poor their living conditions were. Meowth was startled, however, when Jessie and James suddenly came up behind him and scolded him for whining when there were Pokemon that had it a lot worse than him. For example, Team Rocket still had one rice ball they could eat. However, all three of them tried to grab it, and soon a fight started over it, since they all wanted it for themselves, unwilling to share it. Meowth wanted to be the first one to grab it, to eat it for himself, but Jessie made the move first. So, physical fighting happened for a long-ass time, and dust was blown up by it, until Team Rocket got very tired by fighting. So, James suggested that instead they play rock, paper, scissors to decide who gets the rice ball. So, they do. But it doesn't end up doing jack shit, because Jessie cheated, so there wasn't an official winner. So this caused a fight to erupt again, between James and Jessie, with James mad at Jessie for cheating, and Jessie trying to defend herself. Meowth was pleased with this fighting, because he actually wasn't involved with it, so he tried to sneak up to grab the rice ball himself, but before he could grab it. But just then, Jessie and James, while fighting, slammed on Meowth's head, causing the rice ball to go rolling off of the tree stump that it was previously on, and down a slope. So Team Rocket chased after it as fast as they could, and very desperately, when it happens to fall into a bush. Coincidentally, Smoochum happened to be in this bush, so it, while conveniently walking by in the bush, saw the rice ball that had landed there, picked it up, and ate it right as Team Rocket caught up to it, and they were immensely sad to see the rice ball now gone, having been eaten by none of them. Team Rocket legitimately falls to the ground in despair, but Jessie soon gets up, complaining about how fucking hungry she was, and because of that, she was going to get revenge on Smoochum by capturing it. As she went to grab it, however, Smoochum smiled at her cutely. And this in turn made Jessie fall in love with Smoochum because of the smile's abilities, and it made her forgive Smoochum. James was still angry, so he yelled at Smoochum, but he got looked at cutely as well, so forgave it. And the same thing happened with Meow. Now all of Team Rocket was in love with Smoochum. Jessie still picks it up though, just not anywhere near as forcefully, because she picks it up and starts cuddling it, and starts to come up with a plan to make money off of Smoochum's cuteness, which involves turning Smoochum into a celebrity pop star, which could be achieved by Smoochum's singing. And then Jessie and James could become Smoochum's managers and charge people if they wanted Smoochum's autograph and some shit, along with Pokemon. And they imagined kind of really satisfying a whole bunch of people in Pokemon, even letting Pokemon such as Pidgeot, Spearow, Goldeen, Dodrio, Mr. Mime, Larvitar, Curlia, Snubbull, Loudred, and Mawile get Smoochum autographs. And Team Rocket would be so rich from taking the autograph money that they'd be able to drive a limo and get super fancy clothes, with Meowth imagining himself in a blue outfit, James a green one, Jessie a purple one, and Wobbuffet a yellow one with a pink bow tie. Team Rocket then celebrated as they stated their belief that their plan was 100% foolproof and couldn't fail. Smoochum just looked on, confused, as Jessie held it up into the air and revealed the plan to it. Meanwhile, we then cut back to the three Jinx who continued to search for Smoochum. After searching for it for quite a while, one of the Jinx eventually spots Team Rocket's Meowth balloon. They at first paid no mind, but eventually the three Jinx all see Smoochum inside of it, and not only that, they see Team Rocket inside of it as well, and they watched in horror as Team Rocket took Smoochum and flew away to a nearby city in their Meowth balloon, so that they could put their plan into action. Meanwhile, we then see that Ash and the gang had arrived in Ceremi Town, and first went to the Ceremi Town Pokemon Center so Ash could heal up Pikachu to take off any remaining ice. So he quickly gave it to Nurse Joy, and Nurse Joy gave Pikachu back eventually, declaring that it was fully healed, so Ash thanked her. Brock then went up to Nurse Joy, now that she was done, and did his usual flirting with her, saying his heart needed healing, leading Joy to embarrassingly clarify that she only healed up Pokemon, while Ash made sure Pikachu was okay, before noticing Brock flirting and dragging him off in Max's place, just because he was so annoyed by Brock's behavior. Just then, Ash and the gang were startled as they heard a screeching sound outside, and they cut outside to see what the screeching sound was, being none other than cars skidding on icy roads, along with some trucks. Why were the roads icy, you may ask? Well, the Jinx had arrived in sort of Ceremi Town, and were taking any opportunity they could to attack the town and create snow and icy road conditions, causing traffic jams. But this wasn't the Jinx's intention. They just wanted to attack everyone else to get them out of the way so they could more easily find Smoochum and Team Rocket, believing that they were in Ceremi Town. Eventually, the Jinx made their way into a park and continued to freeze everything in sight, creating large ice mounds, and also freezing a Magikarp mid-jump in the town pool, and a flying Spearow as well. Just then, though, Ash and the gang, who had been speeding around the town, eventually made it to this park area, and Ash immediately confronted the Jinx, yelling at them to stop what they were doing. And Ash also demanded to know why the Jinx were doing what they were doing, so, in response, the Jinx's eyes started to glow blue as they used telepathy to show Ash and the gang scenes of Team Rocket making off with Smoochum in their Meowth balloon. Seeing how this telepathy was very, very painful for Ash and the gang, even making them turn green, the Jinx stopped with their telepathy, and they actually stopped attacking and relaxed a little bit, not firing any ice attacks, since Ash and the gang correctly came to the conclusion that Team Rocket must have stolen Smoochum, because it wasn't with them, and the Jinx were probably trying to get it back, so they were probably attacking to try and draw out Team Rocket. The Jinx were actually impressed that Ash and the gang had been able to figure out the truth, as Ash sent out his Swallow and told it to fly around and find Team Rocket, and it obliged. After only a few seconds of allowing Swallow to search for Team Rocket, though, the Jinx got impatient, believing that Swallow had failed, and continued to attack the city, using Blizzard, wanting to draw Team Rocket out, although they used it on Ash and the gang in the process as punishment for Swallow failing, even though Swallow actually hadn't failed yet. Ash tried to have Pikachu intervene and attack the Jinx with a Thunderbolt to snap them out of their attacking, but before Pikachu could attack, it got hit by multiple ice beams again, making Max worry that the situation was hopeless. However, May, realizing that Combuskin, being a fire type, was good against Jinx being ice types, so she sent out her Combuskin and told it to stop the Jinx with a Fire Spin. At first, the Fire Spin does quite a bit of damage, but it didn't hold back Jinx for long, because they quickly used a light screen to deflect the Fire Spin attack and attack Combuskin with it, combining with another Fierce Blizzard, and these two attacks were enough to severely injure Combuskin, sending it flying back onto the ground, and knocking Combuskin out to the point where May had to recall it into its Pokeball, right as Swallow returned to Ash and the gang, signifying that it had found Team Rocket, which meant that Brock didn't have to send out any of his Pokemon to battle the Jinx, because they could just go after Team Rocket right away. However, Ash realized that it would take a lot of effort to get the Jinx to believe them that Swallow knew where Smoochum was, after they previously thought that Swallow had failed, so they had to come up with a plan to get the Jinx to follow them, and wondered how. Eventually, Ash came up with an idea, and told Pikachu to attack the Jinx with Thunderbolt. Pikachu does as asked, and as a result, it severely pisses off the Jinx, which was just what Ash wanted, because Ash and the gang, Swallow and Pikachu, then run with Swallow leading the way to Team Rocket, and the Jinx follow Ash and the gang, wanting revenge on them, but they were actually just getting close to Smoochum. Basically, the Jinx were following Ash and the gang because they were angry at them for using Thunderbolt on them, but this was alright because Ash and the gang were following Swallow, so by proxy, the Jinx were being led to Team Rocket and Smoochum. Speaking of Team Rocket, it's cut to them hanging out at a nearby park area, and Jessie was dancing to cha-cha music that James had put on somehow, maybe with a device in the park. And Jessie was essentially dancing in an attempt to teach Smoochum how to dance, so that she could make millions of dollars off of Smoochum due to its cuteness while it danced. James and Meowth even joined in to help teach Smoochum how to dance, and although Smoochum seemed confused at first, it started to follow Jessie's dancing instructions, copying her, as it soon became a natural at dancing. Just then, though, Ash and the gang, Swallow, and the Jinx show up to confront Team Rocket, so Team Rocket knew their motto, dressing up in purple, green, yellow, and pink, and blue hipster costumes, with Mime Jr. even dressing up, and Smoochum even joins in on the motto as well. Team Rocket then changed to their normal costumes, and Ash and the gang were about to attack them, but the Jinx had spotted Team Rocket with Smoochum by this point, and really wanted to punish Team Rocket for taking it. So Ash and the gang got out of the way, giving the Jinx a clear shot at Team Rocket, as they all attacked with Icy Wind, covering Team Rocket in snow. And they used Blizzard to cover them with even more goddamn snow. Team Rocket simply just wipe off the snow, even when the Jinx continued to use Blizzard, and simply taunt that they would not give back Smoochum. And Smoochum didn't have any objections to this, actually liking Team Rocket, and happily staying in Jessie's arms when she picked it up. The Jinx, however, knew that Smoochum belonged with them, not Team Rocket, and started to fire a whole bunch of ice beams at Team Rocket, causing them to run off. But Ash and the gang, Swallow, and the Jinx gave chase. Team Rocket, knowing that they wouldn't be able to outrun everyone, hid in some bushes, trying to think of a way to distract Ash and the gang, Swallow, and Jinx, so that they could get away safely, when, eventually, a panicking Team Rocket relaxed a little bit when they see that Ash and the gang and Jinx and Swallow had missed them going into the bushes. So they ran right past them. Meowth was grabbing his nose after almost crashing his entire body into a tree, but he got away with only injuring his face. Anyways, Team Rocket still feared that Ash and the gang and the Jinx would come back and find them, so Jessie came up with a plan to buy them some more time so that they could fully escape, suggesting that they disguise Mime Jr. and Meowth as Smoochum and send both of them out of the bushes, basically to just confuse the Jinx sisters, distracting them. James was a little skeptical, letting his Mime Jr. go out without him in case something bad would happen to it, but Jessie told him that it was the only way. So, as soon as the Jinx realized that Team Rocket must have jumped into the bushes because they were nowhere to be found outside the bushes, and came back, James and Jessie sent Meowth and Mime Jr. out of the bushes into the view of the Jinx, even though Meowth was kind of skeptical to do this as well. Because of the Smoochum disguises that Mime Jr. and Meowth had on, they actually fooled the Jinx and Ash and the gang as they started to chase after the two Smoochum, confused, thinking that maybe the Smoochum that the Jinx wanted had met up with another Smoochum along the way somehow. But the Jinx managed to get both of the Smoochum and were extremely angry when they found out that the two Smoochum were actually not Smoochum at all, just Mime Jr. and Meowth wearing disguises as they ripped their disguises off. Mime Jr. didn't understand why the Jinx was angry and winked happily at it, but Jinx threw it to the ground in anger, prompting James to reveal himself out of the bushes as he desperately dives to catch Mime Jr. before it got injured. The other Jinx was also really angry as it decided to use a blizzard on Meowth, although Meowth was so scared by the prospect of being frozen that he dodged the attack, falling out of Jinx's hands, causing Jinx to freeze the ground instead. However, Meowth slips on the ground and was now laying on it because of this, as the Jinx uses another ice beam on it, freezing Meowth entirely, as Meowth tried to wink at Jinx, trying to convince it to unfreeze him by using his charm and his male suave, but that shit didn't work. Jessie and Wobbuffet were the only Team Rocket members not revealed yet, but since they were so distracted watching everything going down, they hadn't taken the opportunity to escape, still hiding in the bushes. So the Jinx was very easily able to find Jessie, leading Jessie to run away, not wanting to be frozen. Jessie panics, almost running out of breath as she continues to run, and she ends up running right past Ash and the gang, so they follow after Jessie, as Jinx calls upon the other two Jinx to follow Jessie with it as well. So now Jessie was being chased by all three of the Jinx and Ash and the gang. Eventually, Jessie, who was still carrying Smoochum, which was why the Jinx wanted to reach her so bad, arrived at a radio tower and started to climb it, claiming that she would not let the Jinx get to her and have her baby Smoochum, even though it obviously wasn't hers. The Jinx arrived at the radio tower first, and they wanted to climb up it to go after Smoochum, but they were unable to because of how fat they were and shit. So the Jinx repeatedly tried to fire many ice beam attacks to hit Jessie, but she just dodges every single one of them. Although Jessie did start to panic a little bit though, because the farther up she got on the radio tower, the closer the Jinx got to hitting her. They were literally hitting the spot that she just climbed up, right as she finished climbing it basically. However, Jessie was relieved, as the Jinx was soon too exhausted to continue firing off attacks, and eventually started to pant, unable to fire anymore. With the Jinx no longer in her way, Jessie was able to reach a platform halfway up the radio tower, and awaited James and Meowth, who were presumably heading back to the Meowth balloon, to come pick her up. Just then, Ash and the gang arrived, and spotted Jessie halfway up the radio tower, where she was. Jessie taunts Ash, saying that he would never be able to reach her and get back Smoochum, even if he tried, although Ash took this as a challenge. Max pointed out that there were plenty of frozen parts when climbing up the radio tower, but Ash didn't care, as he simply didn't interact with them as he climbed up a different pathway up the radio tower. However, the Jinx see this, and assume that he was coming up to join Jessie as an ally for some reason. and because of this, the Jinx start attacking Ash, having recharged their ice beams, and they fire several at him. Brock panicked, seeing that the radio tower was getting more and more frozen thanks to the Jinx's continuous attacks, and knew that in order to save Ash, he had to do something. So he, May, and Max jumped in front of the Jinx and explained to the Jinx that Ash was really trying to help out. Brock, May, and Max started to convince the Jinx they were really believing them, but even though the Jinx, now being distracted and not attacking Ash, allowed him to catch up to Jessie, Jessie quickly radioed James and Meowth. Maybe that's why she was going up to the radio tower in the first place, demanding that they hurry up with the Meowth balloon already. Although Meowth answered Jessie and explained the situation. Regretfully, James was still inflating the Meowth balloon, utilizing a bicycle pump. I guess that's how they always reinflated it, huh? Jessie was frustrated by this and hung up, but she only got even more frustrated when Ash demanded that Jessie give back Smoochum, and Jessie adamantly refused. However, she got too worked up, and that, combined with a strong gust of wind, caused Jessie to lose her balance, as she started to wobble, almost falling off of the radio tower, although she managed to cling on to the edge with one hand, although she dropped Smoochum in the process, sending Smoochum falling to the ground as a result. However, Ash, determined to save Smoochum, jumped off of the radio tower and managed to catch it, but of course, this just meant that both he and Smoochum were falling, unable to stop. Ash panicked, believing that he and Smoochum were about to fucking die, and Jessie panicked at the fact that she could lose Smoochum, the key to her wealth. But at the last second, before Ash and Smoochum reached the ground, one of the Jinx caught Ash by using a psychic attack, and the other two Jinx used psychic attack as well, to safely lower Ash and Smoochum to the ground, leaving Ash impressed that the psychic attack was able to stop him and Smoochum from falling, even when they were falling at such a high speed. Then, the three Jinx thank Ash immensely for saving their baby sister, and they literally go up close to him and bow to him in thanks, although Ash replies that he should be the one thanking them for saving his goddamn life. Back on the radio tower, which Jessie was still clinging onto, she started to cry in sadness at the fact that she had lost Smoochum and the wealth that she could gain from it, when suddenly James and Meowth arrived in the Meowth balloon, and Jessie scolded them for being late. Right as Ash returned Smoochum into the Jinx's arms, though, Jessie used a little pull on the radio tower to jump inside the Meowth balloon, although she was still angry and sad at Smoochum being gone, and angry at James and Meowth. So she just decided to ignore James and Meowth, and pressed a button in the Meowth balloon to fire a robotic hand, which grabbed Smoochum and brought it up to the Meowth balloon, taking it away from Jinx once more. However, the Jinx were very angry to have the Smoochum taken away from them, as Jessie was also angry, ordering Meowth to do the rest of the work of bringing Smoochum up to the Meowth balloon to make up for he and James's lateness. Meowth obliges and continues to bring Smoochum up to the Meowth balloon, but the angry Jinx fire off a ice beam to freeze the robotic arm, preventing it from going up to the Meowth balloon any further. Next, Ash has slowly used aerial ace to break the robotic arm, causing Smoochum to fall to the ground once again, making Ash and the gang panic. Swallow tried his best to save Smoochum, but since it had flown upside down while doing its aerial ace, it took it a while to get back upright, and it couldn't save Smoochum in time. So Brock, May, and Max all scrambled, tripping over each other to try and catch Smoochum, and although they all fell to the ground, Smoochum landed safely on Brock's chest, not sustaining any damage. All that happened was some dust was kicked up. And when the dust cleared, we saw Brock, May, and Max tired as fuck from the fall, but Smoochum very happy to have been saved. Jessie was furious that she was not able to capture Smoochum yet again, but James and Meowth convinced her to simply fly away with them in the Meowth balloon when they mentioned that the balloon no longer had any more claws to grab Smoochum with, so they simply just tried to fly away in the Meowth balloon to get away in one piece. Ash tried to yell for Team Rocket to come back, but they didn't. However, the Jinx, wanting to punish Team Rocket, all fired ice beams at them, freezing the Meowth balloon solid, also causing it to drop out of the sky, since the ice was weighing it down. Before it dropped out of the sky, though, Pikachu used Thunderbolt to shatter the ice and send Team Rocket blasting off, with all four of them, including Wobbuffet and Mime Jr., in one frozen block of ice, to basically blast off inside these cases of ice, leaving Ash and the gang, Jinx, and the Smoochum pleased. Later, with Team Rocket gone, Ash and the gang and the Jinx went to a nearby cliff to say goodbye to each other, and Ash and the gang were saying goodbye to Smoochum as well, but Smoochum had grown fond of Ash due to Ash saving it, and as Ash tried to give it to the Jinx, even though Smoochum tried to come up to him, Smoochum jumped into his arms and gave him a kiss. And Smoochum then jumped out of Ash's hands as it started to evolve into another Jinx, making the other three Jinx congratulate Smoochum on its evolution, because now they were all the same, and they commented on how happy the four Jinx looked all together. The Jinx again bow their heads, including the Smoochum that had just turned into Jinx, in thanks to Ash and the gang, as Ash reminds the newly evolved Jinx not to get lost again. May then complains that the events of today had made her extremely hungry, and she wanted to go back to the Pokémon Center in Cremini Town, although Ash wanted to get to the Battle Tower as soon as possible. And that was where he wanted to go, in Cremini Town, but he stated that he couldn't resist having a warm meal and a comfortable bed to sleep in for the night. So the episode ends with Ash and the gang saying goodbye to Jinx and Smoochum, and Ash asking Pikachu if he was excited for their upcoming Battle Frontier Battle Tower battle, which Pikachu confirms, and Ash and the gang then go back to the Pokemon Center in Cremini Town before heading to the Battle Tower the next day, because even though Ash really wanted to go to the Battle Tower and was really looking forward to winning his 6th Frontier symbol, he needed some goddamn food. And some rest. I mean, he almost died. The Jinx were kinda sad to say goodbye to Ash and the gang, but they did anyways.